Welcome to.
I used to work at Target many years ago.
Let me finish!
At the
God! I didn't even unpause it. Anyways, welcome to 4 true creepy Target horror stories animated by MGV Animations. I'll link their channel down below if you want to go watch theirs. Their other videos. I'm going to be reacting to only 2 of them today. I don't know how big they are, but let's get right into it.
At the time, they were still open 24/7. So I took the overnight
I miss it.
stalker. I was a night owl in college, so that fit into my schedule the best. As much as Target gets rightfully criticized for being a terrible employer, I actually think it was a decent job for where I was in life.
Are they really?
It's common knowledge how strange some of the people
I've
that
never
come
worked
into
at
the
Target.
store are.
Or a
But
retail
things are
store,
way
honestly.
worse
I've
in
only
the
worked in
middle of
like
the night.
fast food and stuff like that.
Thankfully, I didn't have to interact with most of them. But there were occasions when I was hit on or harassed by crazy people.
Ooh,
It didn't usually get that bad.
that's nasty.
But there was this one guy.
Oh my God! It's Michael
He
Jackson.
He was one of the main reasons I ended up quitting before I was finished with college. He came into the store on a freezing
Oh my
cold night in
God.
December, long after the hours when the store was still full of customers, when there was barely anyone there except for a few employees. I was crouched down stocking boxes of pasta when I noticed a man walk past
Pasta.
the entrance to the aisle. A moment later, he reappeared at the end of the shelves, but he didn't walk into it just then. He stared at me instead. I could see it out of the corner of my eye, but I tried to ignore him. He lingered long enough for me to get a read on him from just a few glances. He was disheveled and dirty, not carrying anything, and a stench of stale feces and urine was already wafting over from him.
My mic fell. And then somehow it fell on my mouse, which caused my my OBS to completely change. Why? I don't know. The display is locked. What the hell? It's okay. I got it fixed. We're good.
Eventually, he started
Stop!
walking toward me. Once he was about 5 feet away, he
My
stopped and
butthole's
stared down at me
puckering
again.
up, dude.
By then, the odor
Oh
of
my
his filth
God.
was overpowering.
Green oil with
After a
flies.
few unbearable
P.U.
seconds of
onion
silence,
boy, my
he finally
God.
opened his mouth
Ah!
and asked where he could find popcorn.
Your teeth look like popcorn. They're buttered up. Oh my God.
But I noticed something weird as I watched him go out of the aisle.
You got a gun?
He had a strange limp as he walked, almost a waddle.
He gotta
Then,
take a shit.
He reached back and scratched his crack, seemingly adjusting something inside his pants. Just before he walked out of sight, I confirmed there had to be something inside his pants. Whatever it was big, and it was
This
tied between his
dick!
chest by his
That's
waist.
what's in it. It's a
I
Glock
didn't
with an
want to
extended
imagine
mag.
what it could be, but I came up with a few possibilities before I successfully
Why would
pushed
it be a
out of my
smoke bomb?
mind.
What the
None
what
of
the
them
hell
were
is a
good.
smoke bomb gonna do?
Thankfully, a few minutes later, I had already forgotten about it.
How the fuck?
I
How?
got back into my stocking flow and wasn't
I would
thinking
think about that all
anything in
night.
particular.
What? There was this
Just happened
Miku
to want
cosplayer at my
something
job
today
the other
to
day.
get
It
out
was
of this
crazy.
menial job and do something more interesting for a living. I was snapped out of my trance by the reappearance of the putrid man. Once again, he stood at the end of the aisle.
That
and stared.
stench, man.
This time, there was a slight smile on his face. He returned without any popcorn. I knew that out of everything in the store, the only thing he was interested in was me. He approached me again, stepping a bit closer. than
That
the
shit about to
previous
fall out your
encounter.
pant leg, dude.
The rank stench almost made me gag. I didn't want to look at him or even be around him, but he kept talking to me, trying to flirt. He said he couldn't help but come up and tell me how sexy I was, to which I replied with a simple thanks and a fake smile. He pressed me for information about where I lived, how old I was, if I had a boyfriend, all the typical stuff creeps feel entitled to ask about. I gave fake answers to everything, trying to give him every reason in the world to stop talking to me. But none of it worked. Eventually,
I'm sorry.
he asked for my
Why
number,
did the camera angle
saying
do
we should
that?
get together and make a baby with my beautiful genes. I declined outright at first.
Your jeans have shit in them, dog. I don't
He
think
asked
she
me
would
multiple
say
times
babies.
and made it clear that he wouldn't take no for an answer. I finally copped out and gave him a fake number. He walked away with a big grin on his face, as if he thought he had actually chatted me up and had a chance of getting in my pants behind whatever dumpster he lived behind. Once again, I noticed that weird limp and the impression of something big in his pants as he walked away, but I was no closer to figuring out what it was. After I finished unloading the cart, I took it to the back end of the store to get a full one. I needed a break after that guy, so I purposely stalled around by the door. Nobody was around to catch me slacking off. I figured I could stand there for about 5 whole minutes without anyone bothering me.
You're
Right as I
getting
was
paid.
about to finally leave, the man busted through the door, screaming in my face and threatening to kill me for giving him a fake number. I jumped back in shock, hiding behind the boxes on the cart. The rotting creep asked me if I wanted to know what he did to people that lied to him. I didn't know what that meant, so of course I said no and asked him to calm down, but it had no effect. Then, right in front of my eyes, to my horror, he reached back and stuck his hand down his pants, about to grab something and take it out. I screamed and sprinted out the door.
What
He
the hell
tried
is
to
it?
grab me as I passed him, but I escaped with just a scratch from his filthy fingernail.
Oh, you got.
I ran out of the store and into my car. He was much slower.
You gotta
than
get a
me and
test,
couldn't
my
catch
brother.
up. But as I pulled out of the parking lot, I looked back and saw him standing in front of the store, holding something I couldn't make out. I drove off and called the night manager to tell
He
him.
has a whole handful of
It
his
took
shit.
him a minute to understand
in
why
his
I wasn't
hand.
coming back for the night, but he did call the cops to find the man. However, he wasn't there by the time they arrived.
Yeah, no shit.
That scratch on my arm ended up getting infected badly and needed antibiotics. That just goes to show how disgusting he was. Yet, to this day, I still don't know what he was about to pull out of his pants, or whatever horrible experience I managed to escape from. I can only imagine the worst.
Really?
Target was the worst place.
Bro. After all that, we don't get to find out what he had in his pants. My conspiracy theory is that he had a gun covered in feces. That's why he smells so bad. It wasn't his rank ass breath or anything. It was the feces. All right, I had to take a little bathroom break, but a little bathroom break, but we're back now.
I can
Let's
only
get
the
into it.
worst
Next
place I
story.
ever worked at.
Oh no, Target.
But it isn't Target's fault. I had recently graduated from college. and
It's
got
your
a job
fault!
With an old friend of mine, but I couldn't find a job in my area of expertise in time.
Computer
So I had
science
to
major.
get a day job to make ends meet, and Target accepted my application. Of course, I quickly
my
grew to
God.
despise working there.
Have you been
I couldn't
smoking?
relate to any of my coworkers.
Dude, not cool.
Most of them were generally lifeless and irritable people. Something about that place was soul-sucking. The customers were weird and often aggressive.
I'm gonna get hired at Target now. I'm just kidding.
The job itself was repetitive and menial, and the management was insufferable. In my short stint as a Target employee, I cashiered, stocked, cleaned, did customer service, and walked around as a general associate helping customers.
General associate.
Usually.
You just
The
got
days I
hired
got
though,
to
no?
spend walking around were my favorite.
All right.
However, the worst day I ever spent
Associate
working
means
at
like-
Target
Man, I don't know.
was the day when I
I'm
happened
slow.
to be
I'm
walking
sleepy.
around.
Oh no.
Everything was fine for the first hour or so. I was actually having a somewhat pleasant shift. But then,
Dude, I can't get
my
over the fact he
rare
looks
little rosy moment
stoned
was
out of his
incinerated by the sound
mind.
of one voice. Someone behind me called my name.
Your
I
dad.
recognized the voice like a shell-shocked soldier remembers the sound of artillery fire. I didn't even have to turn around to know
She
who
looks
it
creepy.
was.
She got a whack
It
ass
was my
bob.
ex-girlfriend,
Uh-oh.
Samantha.
Uh oh.
I'd broken up with her nearly
Uh-oh.
a year ago.
Why?
She was beautiful and amazing in bed, but everything else
Dang,
about
God.
her was a nightmare. She was diagnosed bipolar as a teenager, but had been refusing to take her prescribed medication ever since she started going to college. Her particular case was
So, I understand not wanting to take your medicine, right? I have ADHD. I have some other, maybe schizophrenia. No, I'm kidding. But I understand not wanting to take it. I took myself off of ADHD meds. But I feel like when you're like bipolar and stuff, and it's like to a point, like, and you know you're gonna hurt others around you.
severe,
Come
though she
on.
refused to seek help. As a partner in a relationship, she was paranoid, controlling, jealous, and violent. I was never seriously hurt or traumatized by her, but once the force of nature compelling me to breed subsided, I realized I had made a grave mistake by getting with her. I broke things off, and several hellish months of repercussions. I blocked her on everything, but she incessantly found ways to
Oh my
contact
God.
me and find out where I would be to confront me, either begging for forgiveness and a chance to talk things through or screaming at me about how I was a horrible person. I continuously shut her down, and while things got dicey for a while, she eventually calmed down and seemed to finally disappear from my life. I hadn't seen her in months. I thought she was finally gone. In that moment, I heard her voice. My blood turned ice. She was standing right behind me. When I turned around, what was already an awful circumstance for me became the absolute worst case scenario. There she was, grinning and staring me down with empty eyes as always. But instead of wearing a skimpy outfit like she used to do to keep me interested in her body, she was wearing work clothes and a vest, a Target vest. My heart sank to the floor. I couldn't even speak. But Samantha was giddy with excitement. She told me she had just gotten a job at Target, not knowing that I was working there, and had randomly been assigned to me for training. She said it must have been divine intervention, that it was a sign that we were meant to be together.
Yo, this bitch is crazy! You know what she did? She found out where he worked, right? I guarantee you she's always there, bro. She's always there just watching him. And then she applied there. She don't need the money. She got her own money. She rich. She rich, bitch. She probably not rich. She working at Target. But still, that's crazy. And then randomly getting assigned to him.
I tried to
you
open my
lying.
mouth to disagree, but I was in shock. I could hardly fathom what was happening to me, much less form coherent words. What I wanted to say was, what the hell are you doing here? Why can't you get it through your head that I never want to see you again in my life?
I'm scared for him,
None of it
dude.
came out. Samantha approached me, but I managed to back away. She pouted and refrained from coming any nearer, then sheepishly asked if we could be professional and do her training if I didn't want to talk about things. At a complete loss, I went along with it. I finally got my voice back and barely managed to start explaining things to her. We were all right for a few minutes while I kept my eye on her, bashfully smiling and trying to look cute and innocent, but I knew it was all a facade. As soon as I turned my back on her, she grabbed my arm. I immediately ripped her hand off of me and physically recoiled, looking at her with anger and disgust in my heart, just before briskly walking off to my manager's office. Samantha followed me inside. The manager looked up from his computer with confusion on his face. I wasted no time explaining to my boss that I refused to train Samantha on account of our negative history together.
Does she not work
What
there?
he said in response made my face go numb. He told me he had never hired anyone named Samantha, and he had never seen the woman standing over my shoulder in his life. I looked back at Samantha in pure terror. She was smiling like I had never seen her smile before. It was half childish embarrassment at being caught doing something bad, and half the deep
What's it
twisted
back?
satisfaction of a truly evil person inflicting suffering on another person. I was once again unable to speak. My manager ordered Samantha to leave, and told her to stop impersonating a Target employee or he would have her arrested. He was polite enough to give me a few minutes to put myself back together before having me go back to work. The rest of the day was strange. I don't remember much of it. I spent most of it thinking about how scared I was of Samantha. Finally, at around 10 p.m., I was free to go home. I walked out into a dimly lit, mostly empty parking lot. My car was parked all the way at the back. I opened my car door and sat down. But before I could get my left foot inside, I felt a hand grab my leg, and then a searing pain sliding across my ankle. I looked down, screaming, and saw Samantha's hand grabbing my ankle with a knife in her other hand. She had sliced right across my Achilles tendon. I could literally see it in 2 pieces. Then, she slid out from under the car, smiling, saying something I'll never forget. "You can't run from me now." But I did anyway. With my right foot, I stomped her head as hard as I could. She let go, giving me a chance to hobble back to the store while she was dazed and beg one of my coworkers to call the police. When the cops arrived, Samantha was gone, and I was taken to the hospital. Thankfully, she was arrested later and eventually sentenced to over a decade in prison. After many months' recovery and physical therapy, I could walk almost normally, but with a slight limp. Shortly before the end of
Yo! What if this is the MJ guy?
I got a job offer in a different state. I took it in a heartbeat,
Oh my gosh,
knowing Samantha
dude.
would never be able to find me again. When I was 15,
That was crazy. Oh my god. Dude, I'm in shock. Oh my gosh. But I think that'll do it for today's episode. It was really fun watching these. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to link, if you want to finish the rest of this video from NJV Animations, it's going to be in the description down below. But peace out.